Hey guys, I just wanted to go over some stuff about building a group that meshes well and works together, and everybody gets their shining point in the game so that not one person or a few people is basically taking over and doing everything. It's the best way to get a team that works together, and it's overall the best way to get through the hurdles of the game. So, when I'm breaking this down for new players, especially those who are coming from the video game world, where I'm not talking about necessarily like World of Warcraft, where you have a group and they each have their special, players that do certain things. I'm more talking about those who come from like console games where it's just them playing, and that character kind of has to be jack of all trades to get through the game. Well, in Dungeons and Dragons, it's a collaboratory storytelling game. So you're working as a team, and each team member is a specialist in certain skills. While some of those specialist positions kind of overlap other positions, such as, for the example, the ranger can kind of be that fighting warrior, position, but yeah, it kind of has some of that roguish. It can sneak in well. It can do tracking. It can do scouting. A lot of stuff that kind of fall under also the rogue. So certain positions kind of overlap. And I kind of wanted to break down those kind of categories to give you guys an idea of how, when you come together as a group, best to pick what position you're basically playing as. So, we're going to start off with the most basic, common knowledge, obvious class position, whatever you want to call it, is the warrior fighter. Your job is to smash and pound and fight. You're the guy that goes in and does the most damage and tries to fight and all that. So there's a couple classes in the game that kind of this falls under, like I was saying. The ranger does. Obviously, the fighter does. Barbarians do. They're your go-to guy that's going to bust into the room and just start pounding away. Okay. Now, with that being said, that fighter or that, barbarian's getting in the mix of all the enemies. So he's not just the only one swinging, they're swinging back at him. So they're going to need that person to go to heal him up, or the medics of the game. Well, the medic or healer, whatever you want to call it, is one of the most key important positions. A lot of people don't like to play it because they're like, "Oh, I want to fight," or all they do is just heal up everybody in battle. It's not quite accurate. They've got some nasty fighting skills and capabilities in the game themselves, but they also go around and give, such as like the bard, inspiration and boosts up the capabilities of their other players. So it's not just, oh, here's your 5 hit points, I'm done, until you get injured again. It doesn't really work that way. But some other healers are druids, rangers. In the later classes or later levels up, they get some magical capabilities and they can heal a little bit. Obviously, the cleric is the big boss guy of the healer group. Dominic wants to say hello, evidently. Come here, come here. And then after the healers, okay, another key group that a lot of people don't quite think about, it's something that they tend to forget is a key opponent, especially in combat situations, is the artillery guys. Believe it or not, Dungeons and Dragons have a lot of situations where artillery positions are key and important. So basically, when I'm talking about artillery, these are guys standing off to the distance and doing massive damage or messing with massive amount of enemies or situations. They're not going to be your guys up front, and I guess Max wants to come by and get on camera too, since his brother just did. Come on, get down. Anyway, so basically the artillery guys are going to be attacking from afar, and they're going to do the most amount of damage to multiple people. These guys consist of wizards and they consist of bards. Typically, your magic users tend to be more artillery since they don't have a lot of strength or defensive capabilities other than their magical stuff. So they tend to attack from far, lead into artillery type combat. Um, Now, the opposite of staying afar is what I call the tech guys or the scouts or the intelligence team. This is your rogues. This is your rangers. They're the ones that are going to get in, get the information, bring it back to the group. Sometimes going into that tech side, it's okay, we've got this huge door, metal locks, warriors are not going to be smashing it down, or they're trying to be quiet to get in. They're going to need these tech guys coming in, popping these locks, doing sometimes their magical capabilities to get the barrier done and get out. Um, Sometimes you need to infiltrate and get information from a camp, so they'll scout in, get the information, and jet. These are your rangers. These are your rogues. Rogues aren't just thieves, like a lot of people tend to associate them. Rogue does not always equal I'm going to just constantly steal, even though they have a huge bonus and capabilities to steal and pickpocket and all. Rogues don't always equal thieves. So you don't have to play I'm a thief. You can be more. There's so much more to it. Um, Also, when it comes to being a FAR, you also got to remember when you're building a team, you sometimes want to make that distant kill. So you're going to need someone in your group to be what I call snipers. Snipers are basically your magic users. They can do amazing damage from really far away. And then there's, the rangers. They can shoot their arrows down in. Um, Rogues, again, make amazing assassins. They get in there multiple different ways and they do their kills, so to speak, and then they get out. So it's kind of, you want to think about these kind of scenarios. Also, outside of combat, you kind of want that person who is that great talker. So rogues tend to have great charisma. Okay, so they tend to be able to talk their way out. So you might want to have your rogue instead of your fierce warrior be the person that speaks on behalf of the team, even though they might not be the team leader. Um, Same as a rangers. They might be a little bit distant, but they might be knowledgeable. They mix in with different cultures, so they might have a little bit more charisma. Just when you're building your character, just think about how that character pieces into this overall group. You don't want a one-man show. It's not fun playing in a group where either you are the one-man show or there's someone else that's constantly taking over the game and wants to constantly do everything. And, I get that you can build your character to be a jack of all trades, but it really is not fun. It gets so boring very quickly. Now, that being said, when you're going shopping for your character for their items, it's the same thing. A magic user realistically, unless their spell calls for it, might not need to carry rope. Whereas that rogue or that hunter that's a ranger might carry rope. So you got two people carrying rope. The whole group does not necessarily need to have rope on them. Just think about items like that because you don't want to bog down your character so much that when you go into these dungeons or exploring these, caves, when you want to bring stuff out of it, well, guess what? Now you got to decide, oh, well, I'm going to ditch this, and this because, well, I can't carry this heavy thing because I'm bogged down with all this stuff. And it's just stuff to think about. Like, what logically would a cleric be carrying? Holy water, magical, spell components for a magic user. Just common sense stuff like that. Um, you will not find thieves' tools on a fighter. Don't buy it. Just because you could spend the money doesn't necessarily mean you want to. So just think logically, because typically there's 3 or 4 players in a group, so one of them can, go and bring the stuff that they would use. You don't have to be, Samwise Gamgee that's literally carrying the whole Hobbiton's worth of pans with him. You don't need to have all that useless stuff. So just some stuff to think about when you are building a group. So just start flipping through those player handbooks, and you can go online and get some free, downloadable stuff from Wizards of the Coast. Just really think about these classes and what they specialize and how it falls into your group. Because again, 3 magic users in a group of 4, and the fourth one is a rogue, you're not going to get super far. Variety is the key here. You want a little bit of everything. So, just some stuff to think about. Thanks, guys.